Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome back again to our family support group. My name is Craig, and I'm glad to be with you today. And so we're going to dive right into it. I am a recovery coach, and so today we're going to share some information by this information is brought to all of us through JourneyPureRiver.com. You can go online, retrieve this article, this information, and today we're going to be talking about, being that this is a family recovery support group, we're going to be talking about repairing relationships broken by addiction. Repairing relationships that is broken by addiction. So, without further ado, the article starts off by saying addiction is a chronic disease that can negatively affect a person's life and health. What many people don't know is that addiction is a family disease. It doesn't just make the sufferer sick, it also harms their loved ones, colleagues, and acquaintances. One of the casualties a battle a battle with addiction is the trail of damaged relationship it leaves in its wake. With the right kind of help, repairing relationship after addiction is possible. Hmm. Let's see what the article goes further to say. It says addiction, a family disease. When one person in the family develops a substance abuse issue, it doesn't solely affect them. No matter their drug of choice, their addiction is a family disease, causing stress to the people living in the family home and those closest to the addict. This disease has the potential to interfere with normal family life and routines. A person living with an addiction may behave erratically, depending on whether they are sober, drunk, high, or recovering from a time when they were drinking or using drugs. Someone in the throes of an active addiction may lie about how much they are drinking, how many drugs they are taking, or even that they are taking drugs. This is one of the symptoms of the disease. And it's common for addicts to manipulate loved ones if it means they can get resources, money, food, a place to stay, a cell phone, etc. That will support the act, that will support the addiction. Excuse me. It can take time for families to realize that they are dealing with a loved one who has developed an addiction to drugs, alcohol. The early stages of the disease can be subtle. Addicts can be very good at persuading family members that an episode where they were under the influence was an isolated one and that it would never happen again. Hmm. Unfortunately, the article goes on to say, it always happens again in the case of someone living with an addiction. Family members may react to a loved one's addiction by stepping in to help with the best of intentions. Not everyone in the family will agree with trying to help the addicted family member. Some may think that taking a tough stance is the way to handle the situation. When family members disagree about the best way to deal with someone who has an addiction issue, conflicts ensues. And the person with the addiction is left to continue drinking or using drugs. At the same time, the discussion or arguing goes on. The addict realizes that as long as the family is in turmoil, they they'll be able to feed their addiction relatively undisturbed. They will not allow anything to get in the way of feeding the addiction. Wow. As the article says, those who are on the drugs, those who are on the alcohol, those who are addicted to the substances, uh, they are in a state of manipulation. They are in a state of denial. They are very cunning, baffling, and don't care about anything or anyone except the disease. However, that goes on to say that it's not only affecting the individual, but it's also affecting the family as well. Let's talk about number of families affected by the addiction. Addiction is unfortunately all too common today. Families dealing with a loved one struggling with this chronic disease may feel like they are on their own, but these statistics may have put the issue into a different perspective. Right? It says, according to the American Society of Addiction Medicine, according to the writing at that time, it says about 21.5 million Americans aged 12 and older have a substance abuse disorder. That is a high number. 21.5 million Americans from the ages of 12 and older have a substance use disorder. Of this number, about 1.9 million people develop an addiction to prescription pain medicine, and 586,000 had an addiction to heroin. Approximately 23% of those people who use heroin develop an addiction to opioids, the class of pain medication that includes morphine, fentanyl, hydrocodone, codeine, and oxycodone. In 2013, the number of Americans either dependent on alcohol or with problems related to alcohol use was 17.3 million. According to the National Survey on Drug Use and Health, these are some staggering numbers. All right, this article was written and 2 years ago. 2 years ago. So I don't know exactly the number, but those numbers are extremely high. Let's talk about rebuilding relationships and recovery. The key to healing from addiction and rebuilding trust after the addict and your families have hurt all of you, let you down, disappointed you, and caused chaos more times than you can count is a drug and alcohol treatment program. Professional help is needed for people struggling with drug addiction to learn how to live a sober lifestyle and learn how to live without their drug of choice. Part of this process is helping addicts come to terms with the fact that their lives don't immediately become better once they stop using chemicals. It's a lot of work to be done. Just because we put down the alcohol, we put down the drugs, there is a lot of rebuilding. Okay? Part of this process is helping addicts come to terms with the fact that their lives don't immediately become better once they stop using chemicals. Clients in recovery must take responsibility for and deal with the aftermath of events that occur while they were still using drugs or alcohol. It was not their choice to use while they were in the cycle of addiction, but the harm caused to relationships with intimate partners, family members, and close friends still needs to be dealt with. While in a drug and alcohol treatment center, the staff and counselor can help clients using several different techniques. Let's see what the articles talk about, some of the techniques. Set realistic expectations. A newly sober client may feel optimistic about their progress in early sobriety and ready for a fresh start in a relationship. Okay. They may not be focused on the past, where there likely was a pattern of several years of harmful behaviors in the relationship. These issues cannot be resolved overnight. Even if the client sincerely apologizes for past actions, any action taken towards rebuilding the relationship is a victory. And these small steps must be celebrated. We oftentimes say around here, don't wait till you get to the get over the big hurdle, big obstacle. Celebrate the small victories in your recovery, whatever that may look like for you. because it's so important to build upon the small victories. All right? Rebuilding trust will take time. Yes, it does. It's, me myself, I had to learn that even at the ripe age that I am, uh, that it's not when I want someone to heal uh, or get over the hurt or harm that I may have caused. Uh, that's unfair to that person. And so I've come to learn that people have to come to terms. They have to heal on their own. And when they get through uh, acknowledging that they have been hurt and that they can forgive you, and there can be some rebuilding, then you are able to understand more of the hurt and harm that you may have caused by basically having some compassion and saying, you know what, person, I really hurt that person. So let me allow them to heal the way they heal, not the way I want them to heal. All right? Learn healthy. So we're talking about healing, right? So we're talking about rebuilding trust will take time after a pattern where trust has been betrayed repeatedly, rebuilding it will be a lengthy process. Someone who is living with an addiction will always put feeding their disease first to ensure that they keep a steady supply of their drug of choice. They are prepared to lie, cheat, and steal if it means they can get their next fix or drink. This pattern is also used to hide the addiction or its extent from others to keep it going. Learn healthy communication methods. When we talk about rebuilding relationships and recovery, and so the article says learn healthy communication methods. Communication is a two-way street, and it includes both talking and listening. When listening to someone else speak, many people do not hear what the other person is saying. They are waiting for a conversation break so they can make their next point. This is not the best atmosphere to have a healthy discussion. During treatment, a client will be able to learn effective ways to communicate with others and how to truly listen to what another person is saying. There are healthy ways to deal with conflicts that don't end up with someone feeling as though they need to tune out by using drugs or having a drink. Clients will also learn that it's possible to resolve issues without resorting to emotional blackmail, trying to guilt someone into doing what you want, storming out and disappearing, or any other strategies they may have been using in the past. Wow. Learn healthy communication methods. The next one, and that is eliminate unhealthy relationships. Not all relationships in a client's life are healthy and positive ones. The bad ones won't contribute to a healthy recovery. They'll end up doing just the opposite. They'll become a reason for a client to start to slip toward a relapse. People in a client's life who are still using drugs and alcohol no longer have a place in their life. Neither do those who are or have been abusive towards the clients. Codependent people present another problem for clients and recovery. This is so important. Codependent people present another problem for clients and recovery. We talk about eliminate unhealthy relationship. Some family members can take on a role where they feel they need to look after the person with the addiction and want to shield them from the consequences of their actions. Once a client moves into recovery and is learning to take responsibility for their own actions from the past and move forward in a chemical free lifestyle, there is no room for someone to be making excuses for them anymore. The codependent family member needs to seek counseling to learn new behavior patterns. All right? Learn new behavior patterns. Once again, this is a family disease. Addiction doesn't just affect the person that's using it, but it affects all those who are connected to that person. So now we want to talk about types of relationships that need repair. All right. First one talks about spouse or partner. Trust is the foundation of the relationship between romantic partners. When addiction appears, it can wear down trust over time or shatter it all at once. Depending on substances, once compromised, trust is very challenging to get back. That doesn't mean it's impossible. The article says it's very challenging. It's possible to reestablish trust after it has been broken, but it takes time. A recovering addict should expect to come clean about everything they have been holding back from their spouse or partner as a starting point. From there, the spouse or partner will be the one to set some ground rules about gaining trust. Parents. So we're talking about types of relationship that need repair. First, we talk about spouse or partner. Now we're going to talk about parents. Parents and grandparents are usually a person's first source of physical, emotional, and financial support. From time we are born, we learn to lean on our parents. If we have a good relationship with them, they are the people we know we can turn to during difficult times, and they will always have our backs. This urge to help means that parents may feel angry, hurt, and betrayed by an adult child living with a substance abuse issue. If parents have provided financial or practical support only to realize they have been helping to feed the addiction, they may feel foolish or that they had a hand in keeping their child sick. Even though that was not their intention, their adult child may still lie and steal from them, despite the help that the parents have provided since they're compelled to feed their addiction. And so um, I can't stress this enough that addiction has a real stronghold on people who are actively using. And sometimes those old behaviors even still carry on, or traits may still carry on, even though the person may not be in active addiction. It's just that learning, uh, especially if you've been using drugs and you've been working on or you've been utilizing manipulative ways or just distorted thoughts to get your way, you may still have some residue. That's what I'm trying to get at. You may still have some residue in your stinking thinking, and you may still carry it over. So it may take some time, and so don't be hard on yourself. Just realize that just because you stop using alcohol or drugs, everything is all good. No, there's some other areas in our lives that we have to continue to work on and build upon. All right, so we're talking about types of relationships that need repair. We talk about spouse or partner. We talk about parents. We're talking about children. And they are so important as well. Children whose parents are addicts have relationship issues that need addressing as well. Very young children may not realize that their parent is behaving differently from other mothers or fathers. As they age, they may start to understand that their parents has an issue with keeping promises or being on time. The realization that the problem stems from drug or alcohol addiction will likely only come later in childhood. Getting clean and sober is essential to having a good, honest relationship with children of any age. The younger the child, the easier it will be to get the relationship back on track. With older children, it will take time and patience to show the child that this change is permanent and that the parent will be keeping their word about being around for the child going forward. Then we got the last one talks about friends, right? Relationships with friends have likely suffered because of addiction, no matter how long has existed. Some friends may have knowingly or unknowingly enabled the addiction to continue. Once an addict enters recovery, they must evaluate their friendships and eliminate the unhealthy ones. All right? Mm. A recovered addict can rebuild their healthy friendship. The friendship will have to adapt to a new sober lifestyle for the recovering addict. Some friendships will not survive, even with the best intentions. Others will evolve and become strong. Addiction recovery that's built to last. All right. And so the last one we want to touch on, and that is tips for recovering addicts to rebuild relationships. We're going to share some tips on for addicts and rebuilding relationships. Number one, reach out to those people you want to reconnect with. The first step in mending fences is to extend the proverbial olive branch. If you are unsure how a former acquaintance will receive a phone call, or you want some time to consider what you would like to say, send an email or a letter. When you are ready, tell the person you are in or have completed your addiction treatment, as the case may be. Let them know you are in the process of getting your life back on track and that you would like them to be part of it. Okay? So if you're not able to physically reach out to someone, and if you have the email address, the article says, or you have their mailing address, and you don't know how things may go, take that route. That I think that is a good way to extend the proverbial olive branch. The next one talks about be honest and direct about what you want. Be honest and direct about what you want. The people who knew you when you were using, no doubt got used to you denying that you had an addiction or trying to use them in some way. When you communicate with them now, your communication must be direct and straightforward. Apologize for what has happened between you in the past. Be as specific as you want or feel you need to be, and ask how you can make it up to them. Right? So I said, be honest, be straight, be direct, be straightforward, and just ask and be honest and say, how can I make it up to you? How can we mend these broken relationships? All right. Another tip talks about don't beat yourself up over past events. Once you have addressed past events to the satisfaction of everyone involved, draw a line under them. You don't have the power to change anything that has already taken place. You can move forward from this point, though, and make better decisions in your relationship from now on. Next one, make a point of initiating contact with families and friends. Your family and friends may be hesitant about contacting you early in your recovery. They may not, so they may be skeptical, because we don't make a lot of promises, we don't say a lot of things. Oh, I'm not going to do it again. I'm going to be, the best son I can be, and turn around and do the same thing. So now I come and say, hey, I'm clean. I'm the new me. I'm the new Craig. Welcome me with open arms. That's going to be kind of tough. People going to they want to see some action, not just by words alone. People want to see some action. All right. So your family and friends may be hesitant about contacting you early in your recovery. They may not know what to expect or understand what it means to you, as is appropriate. Take the initiative and contact them to show them that. There you go. To show them action. that you are still the same person as you were, but a much healthier version than they have seen for some time. You still have a sense of humor and can still have fun. You are free from chemicals. All right. And so the next one talks about keep attending meetings and counseling sessions. Let me read that again. Keep attending meetings and counseling sessions. Friends and family members need to see you walk the walk, walking the walk, to demonstrate that you are serious about your recovery. While you do not need to discuss what happens during a counseling session, anything that occurs at a 12-step or other type of recovery meeting is confidential, you can mention to them that you are continuing your treatment regularly after completing your inpatient drug and alcohol program. Okay? The next one, be patient. All right? Be patient. It will take time for your family and friends to learn to trust you again. So true. They may not be able to visualize how a relatively short time spent at a treatment program for substance abuse will be able to make a change when the tactics they have been trying, sometimes for several years, have not been effective. Trust will develop over time as you and your family and friends navigate situations where you can deal with them honestly and directly. All right. So that's going to do it for this week. Until the next time, please stay healthy. If you have a loved one, a friend, family member, do the best you can. It may not be easy on both sides because remember, it's not an individual disease. This disease affects everyone. So we all have to learn the new person or new ways of approaching situations from a healthier standpoint. All right. Until the next time, my name is Craig. Take care of yourself and stay safe, stay healthy.